It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon of June the 2nd, 2014, and you're listening to What So What on The Voice at CKVS 93.7 FM. I am your host, Jerre Paquette, co-author of the book Eat to Save Your Life. What So What features discussions about food, the people who grow and distribute it, and its links to our health and well-being. Today, we are privileged to listen to Mr. Scott Duplantie share his incredible story about his fight with brain cancer and his decision to fight it with food, lifestyle, and attitude. We are fortunate to have this opportunity to talk with Scott because one of our listeners, who is hosting Scott at her home during his visit from Alberta to Salmon Arm, felt his story had to be told, and she and he felt getting it on the radio would be the best way to do it. CKVS, Voice of the Shuswap, and What So What are most grateful for this opportunity, as I'm sure you will be too. You'll hear Scott tell his story of terrible loss, of family, friends, community, home, and job for reasons he did not understand until he was diagnosed with brain cancer. And you'll hear how he has chosen to rebuild his life with the surgical intervention of his doctors and his own long-term intervention with the best of foods. Now, Scott, you're actually from Edmonton, Alberta, and are in the Shuswap area visiting friends for a while. And we're using this opportunity so that you can talk to people about what you're going through with brain cancer and how you're treating it, and you just want to tell people what you're doing so that they can get a perspective on perhaps their own situations. Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds
Okay.
sounds about right.
Well, let's start. First of all, you're from Edmonton.
Yeah,
How old
currently
are
out
you
there.
now?
41.
41, and you find yourself at 41 with a brain tumor.
That's
Yeah.
correct. Yeah.
So let's start there. Tell me what it's all about, how it got diagnosed, and where you are at the moment.
Okay. Well, just before we found out what I have, I actually ended up going through a whole family issue where I broke up my whole family, and because of the economic things going on in Alberta, I ended up living in my van, and then after that, I ended up living on the street, and I had all kinds of things going on, and I didn't know what to do. Went to my doctor, asked him if he thought there was anything going on, because I knew something was going on, but I had no idea. And neither did the doctor. He checked me out, all my vital signs, everything was good, my blood pressure, everything was good. And then after seeing the doctor, I don't remember a thing.
Well,
Yeah.
what were some of the things that were going on that made you suspicious?
Well, I stopped working because I was doing a lot of temporary working to try to establish money to move into a place.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped. I was actually just sitting on the side of this one building waiting for lunch and then waiting for supper and then going to sleep and just walking around and having no idea what was going on.
Oh my gosh, so by stopped you mean something in your body just stopped processing?
Yeah. Wow. And I used to be really busy all the time, very aggressive and working, and then everything just seemed to change. A lot of people had no idea what was going on, and I had no idea of what was wrong with me. And then after I went to the doctor that one day to try to figure out, he scheduled me to go see a psychiatrist because he didn't think there was anything physically wrong with me. Mm-hmm. And then I don't remember a thing after that. And what happened was I ended up waking up in surgery while they were stapling my brain.
Really?
Yeah.
You just that's quite an expensive
about
time.
a month. Yeah,
a month.
Yeah.
So that's just gone for you.
Yeah, and a lot of people have all these comments of what was happening. I don't remember anything.
My gosh.
Yeah.
So, you were living alone at that point in time?
Yeah, I was living alone. I sold everything and ended up on the street.
So, what kind of cancer did they label this?
It's called well, originally, when they labeled it, it's changed 3 times now. Yeah, it's changed 3 times. And originally, I'm not sure what they called it, but the 3rd time, it's called astrocytoma. So, yeah, and so it's changed quite a bit, and I think that has a lot to do with my diet and the way I look at it. Also, I've relieved a lot of stress out of my body since this originally happened. And
Sorry, say that again. You're relieved of stress. Is that what you said?
yeah, I've calmed down quite a bit
Oh.
because I mean, my only desire is to wake up in the morning and enjoy life, and instead of being so aggressive and trying to reestablish things and do things for my kids. I do things for them, but I take one step at a time. It's like when you take the stairs, I put both feet on the stairs. I try not to jump up and make sure that I'm planted on each step, and then I take the next step.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, and because sometimes when you take a jump of 3 steps, right, with 1 foot, you fall back 5, and you haven't done anything.
And you don't want to do that anymore.
No, I just want to be very calm about things, not too aggressive, because there's a lot of things that I learned about cancer. A lot of it has to do with stress, right? A lot of it, there's many different items it has to deal with, but stress is one of the major ones, for sure.
Do you want to describe the kind of stress you were living before you were diagnosed?
I was trying to fight my kids back. My ex-wife was an alcoholic, and she pretty much, like, the whole situation that I went through with her kind of destroyed my bank account, my everything, my life. I didn't know what to do. And I still loved her, but, I guess it was only on one side. So I was stressed right out about the whole situation. So I tried over and over, and nothing worked, right? So I don't know how to explain that. Really.
But the stress led you to the living conditions you found yourself in.
Right, yeah.
What were you doing for work at that time during that stressful period?
I was doing, well, we'd all get up, well, they made you get up at 6 to get out of the door, but I would get up earlier. There was a temporary agency that was putting me to work, so I'd have to show up at about 4:45 in the morning and wait till about 7 o'clock before they put us out. And it's really strange because when you're on the street in Edmonton, I don't know about other places, you have to sleep with a whole pile of people, and you have 2 choices. You can go out and work and not have any food, or you can stop and eat but not get any money out of the situation. So it's very difficult to go through any situation on the street in Edmonton.
You're at the whim of an opportunistic employer at the time, and so it's their schedule, not your schedule.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and even if you work the whole day, they always had supper at 5, and you're usually done at 5, so you miss supper.
Right. So this was
you end up spending your money on food rather than putting it in your bank account to try and get a place.
Before that, before we started talking on the radio, you talked about other places you had worked before the marriage breakdown and before the cancer. Would you describe some of those places you worked and what you did, just so we can get a sense of where you ended up?
Well, for about 10 years previous to all of this going on, I worked in the oil patch, and I did. Originally, I started working on the service rigs, so we'd finish and complete all the wells, and then I ended up going into what they call underbalance drilling. So they've changed, like, basically we'd go into the ground and drill and recover all the oil and gas and complete the well. And I was making a lot of money.
And pretty physical work.
Pretty physical work, and you're always out of town. So, it was always with the economy and how, the price of oil had a lot of interaction with how much work that you actually have.
And you were there during the crash of the oil industry?
Yeah, there was actually two crashes previous to the one in '09. And a lot of people don't realize either that if you're in one of the primary sources in oil and gas, they were actually reducing it quite a bit, like a few years before they actually nullified all the work, because it was all, they had a whole bunch of projects to do, but they didn't want to start anymore again. So it was about in '07 that it actually stopped for me, and I was my income went down quite a bit in that time. And
so this is part and parcel of the stress that you were feeling, and your
for sure,
your wife's situation added to that, and that resulted in a breakdown. And you talked about kids, 2 kids, 3 kids?
3 kids.
3 kids?
Yeah, 1 biological, but the oldest one now, she's 18, and I got her when she was 4. And the other one was 2, and she's 16 now. And the youngest one, she's biologically mine, and she's 12.
And so, I understand you're fighting to get her back.
Yeah, that's right.